Hey guys, today we're back with Chapter 7 of The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. Let's head right into it. If you recall from the last chapter, the time traveler's time machine went missing, and now he's in search of it. Weena of the Eloi. In my search for the missing time machine, I couldn't help but noticing a large number of the round, well-shaped structures, like the one I'd seen before. I tried to peer down one of them, but I couldn't see any bottom. There was, however, a dull thudding sound coming from them, as though there was some engine. My time machine wouldn't be down there, I thought. The opening is too narrow, and there's no point in questioning the Eli any further. That's a complete waste of time, because they either don't understand my gestures or laugh at them as if there's some entertaining them comedy show. Actually, investigating the ground helped me more, for on it I saw signs of machines being dragged. Alongside were peculiar, narrow footprints, like the sloth might make. I followed these tracks to the side of a bronze pedestal of the Sphinx, and there I found an interesting surprise. The side of the pedestal has panels in it, I cried. They're doors that open from the inside. So that's where my machine is. I must get inside. But how? When some of the little people passed, I signaled and called, "Say, how can I get inside these doors?" Their response startled me. Their faces, that always seemed to only laugh and sing, were suddenly covered with expressions of horror. I began to bang my fist on the panel. Once I thought I heard a chuckle inside, but nothing happened. I ran to the river for a rock, then banged even harder till I flattened the part of the brass covering. Nothing. Well, I said to myself, you won't get anywhere with this way. Be calm and think sensibly. Face this world and learn its ways. Don't jump to conclusions, and maybe, in the end, you'll find a few clues. So I kept on trying to learn more of their language, but it was a joke. Their words were as limited as their minds. Then, I made a special friend. It happened in this way. One day, some of the Eloi were swimming in the shallow part of the river. Suddenly, one of them ran into trouble and seemed to have developed a cramp, and the current was carrying her downstream. In spite of her poor little cries, nobody moved to help her. Everyone continued swimming, splashing, and frolicking in the water as if she didn't exist. "Hey, look over there," I shouted from the bank. "One of you go get her." I couldn't believe it. There she was, about to drown right before their eyes, and they just ignore her. What strange creatures. "Don't cry, little one. I'll save you," I called, hoping my voice would cheer her, even though she did not understand my language. Quickly, I slipped off my jacket and waded in at a point lower downstream. There, I was able to catch the pathetic little thing as the current was dragging her, and pulled her safely to land. I rubbed her arms and legs a bit, and soon she came round. The truth is, I had such a low opinion of her that I didn't expect her to express anything. Once again, I was wrong. Later that day, when I came back from exploring the area, I found the little woman I'd rescued waiting for me. She greeted me with cries of delight and gave me a huge garland of flowers, which apparently she had made specially for me. I tried as best as I could to let her know I was pleased, and we sat down to talk to each other. At first, our conversation was mostly smiles. I thought of her as a happy child. She told me her name was Weena, and she kissed my hand. I kissed her hands too, and decided to try to give her a lesson in English. "Hands," I said, holding mine up. At first, she merely giggled. Then, out of a strongly felt urge to please me, I guess she attempted to repeat the word. But later, when I heard her little hand asked, "Nute arla? What is this?" She looked blank. Clearly, it was up to me to learn Eloi talk. From now on, when I tell you what she said to me, you must understand that she spoke her language, not ours. The restrained song that Weena and the others sang, a chant that was accompanied by a little dance. Even after I learned the meaning of the words, I still didn't understand what it was all about. I took it to be some childish nursery rhyme. In the light of time, dance and leap, gather flowers, laugh and sing. When the moon comes, danger springs, and pull the Eloi underground, to place where evil dwells. From that darkness none return. Many a time as I watched Weena go through the actions of the song, I smiled completely, unaware of its grim message. As time passed, I had mixed feelings about my friendship with Weena. True, I had been lonely, and it was nice to have someone to take a special interest in me, but she was childlike, always following me around during my explorations, falling back exhausted, and then calling after me and crying when I continued on alone. I'm afraid I didn't realize how much she meant to me at first. She seemed to grow on me, though, until the point where returning to the White Sphinx area was almost like coming home. I began to look for her tiny white and gold finger as I came over the hill. From Weena, I learned that fear had not left the world. Although she was at ease in the day, she dreaded the night, and with shadows and darkness. This and the songs set me to thinking and observing. I noticed that the little people always gathered in the great house after dark and slept in crowds. If I ever entered at night without a light, it threw them into panic. I never found an Eloi outdoors after dark, nor sleeping alone indoors at night. But I was still such a blockhead that I totally missed the reason for their fear. Even though it troubled me a lot, I insisted on sleeping away from all the crowds. Her affection for me won out over her fears. For all the 5 nights that I knew her, she slept with her head pillowed on my arm. My meeting with Weena soon blocked my mind from a horrible dream I had the night before I met her. The night I had cried myself to sleep. Still, every so often the nightmare came back into my thoughts. I remember how I cried out, "Help, help, I'm drowning. Now I'm at the bottom of the sea. Ugh, what are these horrible sea plants brushing all over my face? Help!" I had awakened startled, with the odd impression that some grayish animal had just rushed out the